Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Coffee Break, and I am back with EGIdra versus EGPuma, game number 2. Woo! I think these two players are just absolutely incredible, and they gave us a very passive first game. I was rather surprised. Normally, in the end, you see players of this caliber really ramp it up, but Puma actually just pretty much rolled over Idra's army. Idra having a little bit of mutilus control problem in the final two engagements, so just didn't have the forces required to even begin engaging Puma, and Idra left the game before the big final engagement. For the moment, though, we will be going into game number 2. We have Idra spawning as the green Zerg player in the top left corner of NASL Tal'Darim Altar, and over here on the right side we do have EGPuma spawning as the orange Terran on the right side, on the top right of NASL Tal'Darim Altar. Both these players capable of very, very high caliber games. Puma, like I was saying last game, able to do all sorts of different styles, whatever he really feels like. Last game we saw him go from infantry into marine tank, which is about what I thought he would do. And we saw Idra go die. I mean, I'm sure that he had his strategy picked out. We just never really saw it fully develop. He did have Zergling, Roach, Baneling, Mutalisk, which probably could have cut the Roaches out of the equation. I think the Roaches were kind of a wasted supply thing towards the later point of the game, as Zergling, Baneling, Mutalisk is really what you want to go against Marine Tank. But in the end, what's done is done. Idra lost that game 1-0 for Puma, and we do see Idra once again going for a 15 hatch, which just went down to 14 to troll me. Going for the 15 hatch, then gas, then pool, just like he did in the last game, which worked very, very well for him in the early game, I should say. And Puma responding with his own early expand, putting that down at about the same exact time, just a little bit behind, about 15 seconds behind Idra's expansion. So no big deal there. They will not be doing cross bonds, so the rush distance is a little bit shorter. NASL Tal'Darim Altar, well, Tal'Darim Altar in general, very, very large map. Used to be the largest. I believe Terminus is actually bigger now. But yeah, big map, shorter-ish rush distances might come into play here. You never know. These two players, they're very hard to predict. I do know that these are from the recent NASL tournament, so they're not the most recent matches. That was about a month ago at this point, about a month ago, but they're still fairly relevant. And really there's no good stats on players right now, because the seasons did just reset, so everybody has very few wins. We're just coming out of a big tournament season, so even season 4 was kind of iffy, because once again, players were just traveling all around, going to different tournaments, and that really screws with ladder rankings. Really screws with ladder rankings. We do have this command center still just sitting here at the main, at the opening to the main base, not pushing in, just making SCVs, calling down mules. And I guess I understand that, as he does not feel like he can. Oh, that Zergling almost getting in and seeing all the stuff that is going on in the main base, but really just doesn't want Idra to see the tech in the base yet, so he keeps his command center here just to make sure nothing can get into his base. That's not necessarily a bad play. He's still getting all the same amount of SCVs, and really until he gets fully saturated, he's not losing any SCV, any income, so that is not too big of a deal at all. A lot of the time you'll actually see Korean players get a third command center, one in the natural, and two in the main, and just produce SCVs off that until they are ready to take a third. We do see a preemptive spine crawler going up. No Hellions have been spotted yet, even though we do have reactor Hellions being produced. And this Zergling is going to get fried before he gets into the main base. He gets caught up on those two Hellions there. And now we see pretty much the same exact thing coming out of Puma this game. We have these reactor Hellions, these two barracks with tech labs for upgrades and marauders, and these two Hellions pushing out before the rest of the Hellions get in. But this time we do have the spine crawler completed before the Hellions get to the natural. So Idra was ready for that strategy this game. Hasn't really revealed what he's going to be doing yet. We don't have any Roach Warren. We do have a Lair on the way. Lair just about halfway done. Maybe Infestor Tech, I would not be surprised at all to see Infestors with pathogen glands, especially considering last game we saw a lot of biological units out of EGPuma. 2 racks factory right now. We'll need to drop down another production facility or two fairly shortly. We do have this natural expansion finally taken for EGPuma. Supply counts pretty much even. We do have the harvester count quite a bit in the lead of EGIdra, 45 to 32. But mules keeping that resource income fairly even at this point in time. And this game, Puma not able to do that harassment that he was doing last game. We do have quite a few Hellions out on the field. We have 8 Hellions on the field as well as 4 Marauders. It looks like we are going to be seeing a little bit of a push out, and a 5th Marauder and an SCV now pushing across the field as well. So it looks like we are going to be seeing some sort of odd timing attack out of it. Puma here. This is kind of an interesting unit composition. But I can understand why he likes it. Use the Hellions against the light units like the Zerglings. The Marauders, I don't know if they have concussive or not. No, they do not. The Marauders, which will soon have Stim Pack to use against the buildings. This could be a very devastating push if used properly. Also, the Marauders can tank a little bit of damage as they do have quite a bit of health and 1 innate armor. And here's the push-up coming from Puma here. Just kind of not really focus firing anything specific, using the Marauders to take out these Spine Crawlers, doing a very good job of it. These Zerglings getting a very nice round on all Hellions. Gets a beautiful round on the Hellions. A lot of Hellions going down, but a lot more Zerglings going down. And now 3 Queens trying to pick off these Marauders. For the Marauders, once again, taking so much damage in this combat. And it looks like the Queens will all fall as well. The Marauders still remain to help take down those buildings. That Spire's probably going to get sniped. Meanwhile, these Hellions are going to be able to do just work on all the drones. A few more Zerglings do pop in. The drones are shut on attack order, which is normally indicative of the end game. The composition and timing attack, so unique. Very, very interesting. And now these Hellions pushing up, still doing damage. Drones still dying. Zerglings still dying. 1 Marauder does remain over here in this base, but I don't really. Oh my goodness, that was devastating. Thankfully, EGIdra would have been in a lot more trouble if this Spire had fallen or if this Hatchery had fallen. He was actually able to keep both, though. So, for the moment, he's still in this game, but the Harvester count now swinging heavily in Puma's favor. Well, I guess I can understand that leave, considering he just got bear mauled. Yeah. Well then, this is a best of 5 series in the NASL, and I suppose I'll be moving on to game number 3. We'll see if EGIdra can take a match off of Puma to be able to bring this to a 4th game. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Coffee Break, signing out.